What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Pancis. If it's your first time tuning in, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. If not, thanks for your continued support. Today, we are back at it with my 2004 Saab 9.5 Aero suspension replacement upgrade series. This is part 2, and hopefully we finalize it today. I think we will. We're going to knock out the front suspension here. We have everything in the box right over here. So I'm going to go ahead right now. We're going to hop right into it. We're going to lift up this car, lift off the wheels, and then I'll explain to you the process of getting this all done. It's not too complicated, so hopefully we can get through it quick. All right, so here's the synopsis. We have Saab with either Saab OEM struts, so we know that these have been on here for 220,000 miles, and they are made from Sachs. So if you guys look at the box over here, I ordered Sachs. Sachs is the OEM manufacturer. So therefore, I wasn't upset without getting, that's so you guys know you don't have to get actual Saab brand, you can get Sachs. So 18mm for the top sway bar link. That removes that from the strut assembly. And then you got two 18mm nuts right here. That will remove the bottom of the strut. And then come up on here, you have either 12 or 13, I don't remember. Some of the Saabs are different, to remove the top here. And that strut should just pop right down. So I'm gonna do that right now in a fast motion, but I wanted to explain that process prior to doing it. So let's hop into it. All right, boys, so with a little wrestling, we finally got those two bolts off, and the top bolts here, which I took off already off camera, 2 out of the 3 are 10mm on my car here, but I've seen them at 13 and I've seen them at 12, so it all depends, but either way, there's 3 of them. And there we go. Everything flying down. Alright guys, so there is the full strut assembly. I'm going to go ahead now and prepare this for disassembly because there's a couple things I need from here, such as this boot cover, which goes over the strut, and a couple other things at the bottom here. So let's hop into that. Okay boys, this is where we go ahead and decompress or compress the coil to alleviate some of the pressure on here. Alright, so now that that's compressed, you can see that this is nice and loose up top. And that looks like it's an 18mm socket in there. So 18mm wrench that needs to go in there. So let's see if we can figure that out. Alright guys, so since that was sitting and it was sitting and soaking, which I'm gonna go do the other side right now, that nut came right off. Yeah guys, so I had this thing sitting in lubricant for the last hour. So when I went to go actually pull that nut, it just popped right off with the socket, which is great. This is trash anyways, so that's fine. That's trash because we're replacing it. And this is the part that we need to save because I'm reusing this part. So let's put this back. Got our bump stop. This is still in good shape, which is nice. This can come off. And we can remove that. All right, boys, so there's the old spring. There's the old spring, nice and corroded, falling apart. And the old strut, which seems to still be working. There you go. It doesn't really seem to be working that well because it's completely compressed there. I don't know. That thing is definitely seen its better days. So let's get the new parts. All right, so here's our new parts. New strut. You can see that it's actually popping back out properly, which is good. There's our new spring. Reverse our action on these. Okay. Put our bump stop on. We've got a new one right here. Put the bump stop on. Take this nut off. Got a new washer. It's gonna go like right here. But before we put that on, let's compress the spring. All right, boys. You guys can see that's nicely put together. All nice and fresh. New bushings, or excuse me, new bump stop, new strut, new spring, new bearing, and a new strut mount. So we are gonna go ahead now and just put that on the car. Should be solid. I'm mounting the top of this first, boys, before I go ahead and mess with the bottom, just so we know that the strut is properly in place. And that's all she wrote for this side, boys. Alright guys, so you guys just watched me manage to do all of that. In real time, it takes about 45 minutes to really just get that off, put it all back together, everything like that. Everything I just did takes 45 minutes if you have the right tools and you have no hiccups. I had some hiccups, so it took a little longer, but figure 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on your hiccups. That's the range. So I'm just gonna go ahead now, like usual, knock out that other side. And I'll keep you guys in the loop here momentarily. Alright guys, so what I just did, which will save me a ton of time, which I would recommend being careful, is I loosened all the bolts up on this side. Sway bar link is detached from the strut. I actually went ahead and removed the strut mount nut while it's still in the frame, and I have the jack compressing the strut, so that thing's not going to go anywhere. And if it does, it's just going to fall down once I remove this. So I'm going to go ahead, remove these bolts gently, carefully, cautiously, and just slowly remove this thing, and it saves me a little bit of a step of compressing the spring and doing all that stuff. So here's one. One nut, one bolt, and the rest here is we're going to remove the brake line so it's out of the way. Okay, I'm going to slowly lower the strut so it's decompressed on the coil. You'll see everything collapse here. So now that it's completely detached, the strut mount is actually completely taken off of the strut. So that's good. Now there's no pressure on any of that stuff. I always say the second time around is always a little easier. So if I can give all the pointers I can, like I just did, that means it helps you. Alright, so there is everything. This thing is completely mangled. It's old. I am good. I just got the second strut down.
Does this car run like a brand new car tomorrow?
Yeah.
Don't you need the front end of the line?
It will need it, yeah. But these struts...
I think we get the tires with it.
No, it doesn't. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put the bump stop on. Guys, I'm telling you, removing that strut mount from the top, the mounting part from the top, was a game changer here. It changed this whole process. So let's go get all the new parts. Let's go out and get the rest of the components and finish this up. Alright boys, second one is done. I'm gonna go ahead and install it on the car. This took me much more time, much less time than the first one, of course, as always. So that's a good thing. Alright, driver's side was a breeze once we got past it, so we are all set. That side, as you guys know, buckled up. And we are all buckled up here, ready to go. Finished. Alright boys. Time to lower her down. Let's see how she squats, how she sits. Again, this is replacing a 220,000 mile suspension. Never been replaced, at least from what I can tell. Go. One side. Let's see how she does. Nice. No crunching noises. Beautiful. Alright, it is late night, so stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to hop in this thing, take it for a ride now that we have brand new suspension in the front and the rear. I already can tell a major difference from just driving it this morning for a 3-hour ride. I drove it 3 hours today. With the rear done on the highway, you can already feel that the suspension is working properly. It's dampening all the bounces, all of the bumps, and so far it felt really good, so I'm sure this is going to finish it off really nice. Now that you guys got to see what the front struts look like, just like barely having any energy to push that strut in, and it doesn't even retract, you guys can tell that it was needing to be replaced. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Alright guys, it is the next day here, and I've been driving this car now for the last like half hour, 40 minutes actually, and I got another 20 minutes here to drive. So I figured after gathering my thoughts of this first drive, I figured I'd gather those thoughts and then kind of communicate them to you since we're driving it for the first time here. Car is honestly completely different. Didn't realize how bad the other suspension was since it was original to the factory and it had that many miles on it. But here we are. The car is feeling pretty much brand new. Obviously, it feels brand new. It rides brand new. It's smooth. Everything else is running good. We have no oil leaks. We have no coolant leaks right now. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the car, knock on wood. Hopefully I didn't jinx myself, because we're gonna be cruising this again this week for like another 600-700 mile road trip. So we just keep cranking out the miles, and it seems to just run better and better. But as for the suspension upgrade here, this factory swap here, because we put Bilsteins on the rear, and we put the Sachs struts, as you guys saw in this video, in the front, which is OEM manufacturer of the original setup. So we are still all original, but the car feels really confident now on the road. It's actually absorbing bumps like a brand new car would. Thought this guy was gonna cut in front of me here. And the other thing is the old setup, the car felt like it was just slamming down on every single bump. It was like, honestly uncomfortable, to the point where my dad was like, I'm not driving this car until this is replaced. So I was like, okay. You know, it's like every overpass, every bump is like a really loud slam, boom, you know, like. And after taking apart the suspension there, like this road right now that I'm on, this bumps, this overpass, like it used to just slam on every single one of those little bumps. Now it's just kind of gliding pretty smoothly over it, and absorbing the shock of the bump a lot better than it was. So that was good. But yeah, as you saw when I was taking apart the old setup, those struts, the old ones, just pushed down and just kind of stayed down. It wasn't really doing what it was on the new ones, where if I pushed it down it would come back up, you know what I mean? It was just kind of stuck in position, in the down position. So clearly, obviously, used and abused. So pretty awesome. I really don't know what else to do on this car other than some rust renovation on the rear. Everything else is really running well. The engine's good, transmission's smooth. We've done the cooling system now at this point. We've done the radiator hoses. I think I got one more rad hose to do on the upper rad hose, which I never had replaced before. So since this car will be going to Florida in the next couple months, I will go ahead and swap that. So there is a peace of mind there, even though obviously it's all functioning well. It's just one of those things, you just never know if it's gonna pop, just like the one did a couple weeks ago. So that's kind of the summary of this. We have now part 1 and 2 complete on the suspension, and I don't really have anything else to do with the suspension, because I've done the sway bar links, I've done some of the control arms in the past, so everything is under control. And so as for the rear, the suspension there seems to be pretty good. There's some creaking going on the control arms, the trailing arms. There's a bushing. Those bushings there can go bad. You know, that's something we can take care of at some point. But for now, I'm probably gonna leave it, because it's not creaking all that bad. I mean, early morning when it's super cold, it's creaking, but after like a little quick drive, it's going away. So I think they might have been done before, because it's really not that bad. It's just kind of like a normal creak with these cars at a certain age. So when it gets worse, maybe we'll do it, but for now it's fine, and everything else seems to be under control there. So front suspension at this point has been 100% replaced. The rear is, I guess with the suspension that we just did, probably about 80% done. The only thing left is like some of the rust, and we've done the exhaust system now. We've done suspension. We've done engine oil leaks. We've done everything. Everything's been replaced. Thermostat. Wow, I just went over that bump there, and the car didn't even react, where it used to just slam down. That was impressive. Live action for you on my normal roads here. So yeah, this car runs brand new. It is a brand new 220,000 mile Saab 9.5, and that's how I'm going to sum up this video. Pretty awesome, guys. Really, really awesome. And so yeah, here it is. I'm driving to New York City right now, and after I turn this little bend here, you guys will be able to see the city. So I'll film that. There it is, right in the distance. Not sure if the camera is picking it up here.